And welcome back, guys. This is the King of Weebs here, and this is What If Naruto Was a Silent Prodigy, Part 1. Once again, I will leave a link to the story in the description below, and please go support the creator by reading the story. And also, don't forget to join the Discord server down in the description below, and I'll get straight into it. A young boy, no taller than 4 feet, was seen running frantically across the alleyway. On his tail, a mob of 11 or 12 villagers. To the kids his age, this would seem confusing and frightening, but not for this said boy. For him, it was a regular occurrence. Wearing a grey, tattered hand-me-downs, and shorts with the stitches and holes in many places. He sighed as he hit a dead end. Great. It's like God just hates me, he thought bitterly. He realizes a while ago that crying and begging won't do anything. So he just dealt with it. The boy with dull, seemingly lifeless eyes just knelt down, his hair shadowing his eyes. I wonder how long it'll take for the Anbu to rescue me this time. Rescue, with a bit of venom on it, as they never really appear. One of the villagers sneered at him. So you brat finally realized that running would do you no good. No response. Answer me, trash! He screeched as he kicked the boy hard in the chest. He flew a couple of feet back, but didn't as so much flinch. A couple of people laughed at him, and before long they all started kicking him, punching him, kicking, stomping, slapping, whatever they could, before finally, after what seemed like hours, which by this time he was already in a blissful unconsciousness, an Anbu with a dog mask, short, gravity-defying silver hair, appeared at the scene, along with another Anbu with long purple hair, a cat mask, and a weasel masked Anbu, a bit shorter than the other two, but with black hair done in a ponytail, appeared. The ones with the dog and weasel mask grabbed the villagers and body flickered out of there, most likely body flickered to the T&I department, torture and interrogation department, while the cat-masked one picked up the boy in a fireman's carry and the roof hopped to the Hokage tower. She dropped him off in front of the Hokage's office, where she knocked on the door. A muffled "come in" was heard from the office. She opened the door and she saw an old man with a red and white hat on his head, red and white robes. This man was Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. He was smiling at who came in, but the second he noticed the limp body over his shoulders, he frowned. He truly cared for the boy, but there wasn't much he could do without revealing his heritage to the villagers, and by extension, the world, which would render them vulnerable to Iwagakure, and most likely Kumagakure as well. Currently, there were 6 people who knew Naruto's true heritage. Those people: himself, Kakashi Hatake Jiraiya of the Sanin, Hamura Mitokado, Koharu Utatane, and Danzo Shimura. Although he wouldn't be surprised if Itachi Uchiha also knew. Seriously, the boy's intellect sometimes frightened him. When conversing with Itachi, he sometimes had to remember he was chatting to a 9-year-old boy, not a fellow experienced politician. He rubbed his temple. Why did his villagers have to do this? Have to be so ignorant? Report to Neko, he sighed. Hokage-sama, me, Inu-senpai, and Weasel were patrolling the streets when we heard the noises coming from an alleyway. We decided to check it out and saw a group of 12 civilians beating up Naruto-san. Weasel and Inu Senpai have transported those villagers to Ibiki-san and reported to him, while I decided to bring the Uzumaki to you. His injuries seem to be healing quite quickly, not more severe than a couple of bruises here and there, and the QB chakra will probably heal him, so I decided to take him here instead of the hospital. The Hokage sighed once again. Why here? Why have you left me with this, Minato? Thank you, Neko. You are dismissed. Neko just bowed, and the body flickered away. Hiruzen looked at the unconscious Naruto with a sympathetic look. I'm sorry, Naruto. I wish I could do something for you. Naruto groggily opened a single eye, and looked around, the light beaming through the window, directly landing on his face. He slowly stared up. Ugh. Where am I? He mumbled. Ah, Naruto-kun, my boy, you are awake now. It's good to see you again, Hiruzen said, with a grandfatherly smile. Naruto just deadpanned. Another thing he wondered, why did some of the villagers call him a demon? As far as he was concerned, he's never so much hurt a butterfly. He wanted to search a bit, but he couldn't. The matrons at the orphanage would rarely ever let him read, and whenever he mentioned it to his Gigi, all he would do was ask him to describe the people who would call him that. How was he supposed to remember who would beat him up? All he remembered were those hateful glares and vicious sneers, never the hair or eye color. Such matters were insignificant. Sometimes he would spy on the other kids at the orphanage when matrons would interact with them. They were so gentle and kind to the other kids, but treated him like a stain on the ground. So why? He remembered glaring at one of the matrons when she smiled at her boy who was reading to her. But if you looked close enough, underneath the anger, you could see a glint of longing in the boy's eyes. He yearned to be patted on the head or complimented. He craved attention due to his lack of it since an early age. Naruto. The boy blinked. Huh? Sorry about that, Gigi. I kind of spaced out again. He smiled sheepishly, rubbing the back of his head. His surrogate grandfather just smiled at him. Quite all right, my boy. I was wondering if you were hungry. At this, the boy's stomach rumbled, speaking for him. They both chuckled at this, nervously in Naruto's case, and teasingly in the Hokage's. Well, my boy, I guess your stomach speaks for you, huh? Yeah, I guess so. He nervously rubbed the back of his head. Well, let's go then. I have a feeling you'll like this place. Your mother did, after all. He replied, keeping the last part in his head. As they were walking to the ramen stand, he tried to start a conversation. Well, Naruto, you start the academy next week. Are you excited? Hell yeah! I'm going to be one step closer to taking that hat from you, Gigi. His grandfather just chuckled at this. I'm sure you will, Naruto. A few of the villagers glared at Naruto, but the Hokage with him, they did nothing to him. What the villagers didn't see was the cold, icy, cultative stare in Naruto's eyes for a split second before he went back to his cheery facade. The god of shinobi, however, being a three-time war veteran, did not fail to pick up on this, and it troubled him greatly. He really hoped Naruto didn't seek revenge on the village. He really couldn't blame Naruto if he did, but it would break his already fragile heart to have to label his grandson figure and his successor's legacy a missing nin, or have a sign of or have to sign his death warrant. But the village came first anyway. It would cross that bridge when or if it came. They would cross that bridge when or if it came. Here we are. Naruto was confused for a second before he smelled a godly aroma. His mouth was watering He was put in a trance-like state just from the smell alone. Before he quickly dashed off to the area the smell was coming from. "Wait up, Naruto!" The Hokage chuckled at this. It turns out Hiruzen's theory was correct. Naruto inherited his mother's love for ramen. "Well, hello there," an old burly voice called out to the boy. He looked up, shocked because for once, someone other than his old man was actually speaking to him, without glaring or sneering at the boy. Hello?" he replied meekly, and for a few seconds another man with red and white robes and a white hat with the kanji for fire walked into the stand. Ma, Naruto, why did you run away? Why did you run like that?" His grandfather lightly scolded him. "Sorry, GGA, it smelled really, really good, and I just wanted to, I kinda just followed the smell," he replied sheepishly. He was inside. Sometimes Naruto could really be a handful. "Naruto, what should I do with you?" And Gigi shook his head while smiling slightly. "You should buy me ramen," Naruto yelled out. "Of course, Naruto. We'll have 2 miso ramens, Toji," Hiruzen told the old man. "Of course, Hokage-sama." The man bowed and scurried back to the kitchen. Naruto watched this with awe. He couldn't believe the respect people gave to the old man. He wanted that kind of respect as well, which was originally one of the reasons why he aimed to be for the Hokage position, to be acknowledged the same way his Gigi was. But he knew being the Hokage was more than just that. Sometimes in his musings, a 10-year-old Ayame walked out of the kitchen and peeked her head out of the back. Her eyes widened as they landed on a tiny Naruto. When they noticed this, noticed this, he tilted his head to the side. "Can I help you, miss?" he said in a timid voice. Of course, that was too much for Ayame, and she immediately screamed, "Cute!" and ran at him at speeds that would make the Yellow Flash jealous. Snagged him in her arms between her developing body and squeezed him. His face was slowly turning blue as she wouldn't let go of him, and Hiruzen watched with an amused expression. "Ayame-chan, I believe young Naruto is having trouble breathing," he chuckled. Her eyes widened as she finally noticed the famous Hokage sitting on the stool next to Naruto. She eeped and hopped off Naruto as she fought off a mild blush. "Sorry about that. My name is Ayame, and I'm the daughter of the man who owns the place," she said, and sheepishly rubbed the back of her head in a fashion very similar to a certain blue-eyed blonde. "Hi, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, the once shy boasted. Naruto, you're named after the ramen topping." Naruto playfully glared at her for this. "Nah, I think my name means Mealstorm. It's way cooler than ramen topping." Ayame giggled into her palm at this. 2 miso ramens," the familiar burly voice called out as the man, now known as Toji, placed 2 bowls of ramen on the table. The smell was crispy and savory, and the meal looked mouth-watering. After a cool "itadakimasu," the two dug into the meals. Hiruzen with elegance, and Naruto scarfing down the meal like someone who hasn't eaten a good meal before, which he probably hasn't. "Wow, it's amazing," Naruto called out. Tochi beamed at the praise, and Ayame jabbed a finger at her chest. "Well, of course, we are the best ramen vendors in the Fire Country after all." They are the best vendors in the Fire Country after all. Hiruzen chuckled as he still had half of his ramen left in his bowl. "Well, Naruto, feel any he paused, and as his eyes, along with Tochi and Ayame's, nearly bugged out of their sockets, and their jaws unhinged. At the end of the seat, Naruto rubbing his stomach with a completely empty bowl. Naruto's empty bowl, nothing inside, no soup, no topping, nor even a remaining noodle. He burped and sheepishly rubbed his neck Whoa, that was good. Yup, everyone was just deadpanned at this. A 6-year-old boy finished the large bowl of miso ramen filled with to the brim in 32 seconds, breaking Kushino Uzumaki's previous record, 37 seconds. Well, if that's all, I will see you next time, Naruto-kun. Yeah, see you next time, old man. Ayame Toji. He yelled as he ran back into his apartment. What no one noticed was as soon as Naruto's door closed, it dropped off all emotion. His face turned into a half frown, and his eyes steely cold as he remembered yesterday's events, especially since it was the Kyuubi festival and his birthday. Surprisingly, the day he was glared at and beaten the most. Wait. He froze mid-step, his eyes as wide as a saucer, and his face completely shocked. His heartbeat quickened, and he frantically started thinking. What people didn't realize was that Naruto was one of the most analytical people ever. With an IQ of over 140 at the age of 6, he calmed himself and fell into a meditative state. Soon enough, he felt a tug on the back of his mind. Drip, drip, drip. Naruto's eyes snapped open as he looked around and saw a gigantic sewer that seemed to go on forever. He already theorized that this place was either his mind or gut. He kept walking forward until he saw a gigantic cage. He looked up and saw nothing but darkness until one eye opened, and surely enough, he saw a slitted, bloodshot red eye. It seems like my jailer decided to grace me with his presence. A deep booming voice mocked as he opened his eyes and walked forward, baring his glinting, sharp teeth. Hello, Kyuubi. What do you want, Ningen? Is the chakra flowing through you? Your puny veins not enough? Have you come to mock me or forcefully steal my chakra? The voice mocked once again. Naruto, for his credit, didn't even cower, nor flinch. He just chuckled, which angered the fox. Answer me, human! The voice boomed, and the area was laced with killing intent. However, Naruto seemed immune to it. Well, in that case, Naruto said, as he sat down in a meditative position, one that made the fox's eyes widen in complete, utter shock, as this position was the one he hadn't seen in thousands of years. It was the exact same position the Sage of Six Paths would sit in. I don't want to steal your chakra, nor do I want to mock you, as I didn't choose to have you sealed in me. I wish you understand, Naruto replied, which the Kyuubi raised an eyebrow. Whether it was expecting, this wasn't it. Without waiting for the fox to respond, he continued. The stories I've heard and the few books I've read have told me that you are a being made of all the hatred in the world. But this is impractical and illogical. It's pretty obvious to me that the person you hate, the reason why you hate humans is because we treat you like mindless beasts and weapons, and our kind sealing you into us probably angered you as well, he replied. But seeing as if one of us dies, so does the other. We should probably become friends, or at least comrades. So let's redo this. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, he said with a serene smile. For a split second, the Kyuubi swore it saw the visage of the Sage of Six Paths behind Naruto in the same position as him. Could this boy be the one you talked about, father? Perhaps. I'll put my trust in this. Could this boy be the one you talked about, father? Perhaps I'll put my trust in this Ningen race one more time. The fox smirked. Not a smug smirk, or an evil smirk, a friendly smirk. Kurama. My name is Kurama, Naruto. I will put my faith in the human race one more time. Do not disappoint me, brat, the fox said, as he fist bumped Naruto. I promise you, you won't regret this, Kurama, Naruto said before he grinned and phased out of the seal, smiling a real smile once before falling into a blissful sleep. Well, that was chapter 1. I think I can go through another chapter. It is currently 2:34 a.m. But I slept from 4 to 1 a.m. So, yeah. Time skip. 1 week. Currently, Naruto was hinged into a man, transformed into a man with saggy brown hair and green eyes. This was the common transformation. This was his common transformation. He was in a store looking to buy new clothes with his stipend. Hey kid, Kurama speaks up. Naruto replies, you might be angry with what I say, but I think you should pretend to be a complete idiot during the academy. Naruto, not one to rush with conclusions, knew Kurama would have a good reason for such a request. And why do you say that, Kurama? Well, for one, I believe deception would be wise, so you should buy more ugly-looking clothes, preferably bright. Another logical reason would be to keep your head down. You know how the council thinks about you. If they noticed the demon brat was getting strong, it would possibly mean more attempts on your life, and more requests to have you killed by the civilian council, which would then be annoying, and give your villager leader a headache. Naruto sighed at this. As much as he loathed to admit it, Kurama raised good points, and overall, that had more pros than cons. Alright, but only until the final year. Graduation day, I will go all out. Yes, the fox agreed. Naruto left the store with 5 pairs of bright orange jumpsuits. The next morning, Naruto walked into the classroom with a slight physical transformation, rendering him shorter and giving him more face fat when he walked through the door. With spiky blonde hair, cerulean blue eyes, and bright blue and orange jumpsuit, and green goggles on his forehead. Yo, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm going to be Hokage. Believe it, Naruto screeched out. He practically cringed at himself and heard a verbal snicker inside him. He briefly wondered if Kurama actually gave him this idea for his own amusement. Before, he heard someone scoff and retort, "Yeah, right. Like an idiot as you could ever become Hokage." A couple of snickers rang across the room. Naruto's eyes narrowed and went ice cold for a second before he replied, "Hell yeah, I will. Just you wait." It seemed no one noticed the facade slip up, except for 2 pairs of eyeballs. One sitting in the Hokage's office, watching through the crystal ball, and the other pair belonging to a certain lazy Nara. It was going to be a long 4 years. 4 years later, Naruto, age 12, a young boy, was seen running and laughing through the village, in a bright orange jumpsuit. He had a paintbrush in one hand and a bucket in the other. They said the boy recently painted the Hokage monument entirely. He had a couple of tuning hots on his tail. Meanwhile, on the other side of the village, the Hokage-sama, Naruto Uzumaki has pranked the village again. He is inside. What has he done now? He painted the Hokage monument, Hokage-sama. He was inside again for what seemed like the 1000th time in that day. He looked out of the window and had a stifle and a chuckle at what he saw. He saw the 3 Kage, Sandaime, Nandaime, and Sandaime, with face paint everywhere, and blood trickling down their noses. However, What he saw next nearly gave him a severe heart attack. For the Yondaime Hokage, he had his hair painted golden blonde. His pupils were cerulean blue, and he made 3 whisker marks on each cheek. Then a split second later, he thought he actually did get a heart attack. The man choked on his tobacco and nearly fainted when he noticed the next to the Yondaime was a feminine round structure face, a woman with a heart-shaped face, long, straight, red painted hair, and a green hair clip on her right braid. Next to the Yondaime's face was the face of Kushina Uzumaki. Hiruzen started sweating at this. There was no way Naruto didn't know about his heritage after this. Would Naruto be angry? How long has Naruto known for? After this, surely some people like Hayashi Hyuga, Mikoto Uchiha, Tsume Inuzuka, and a few of Minato and Kushina's friends would put 2 and 2 together. This spelled trouble. Hiruzen knew Naruto was smarter than he let on, but he didn't know Naruto knew about his heritage already. Does this mean he already knew of his talent? Sama. Hokage-sama. Huh? Hiruzen blinked. Are you alright, Hokage-sama? You spaced out? Yes, I'm fine. Just capture Naruto and have him scrub the paint off at once, Hokage-sama. The man bowed and left the room, leaving a troubled and confused Hiruzen. Meanwhile, back in the academy, the students were laughing at one Naruto Uzumaki tied up to the center of the classroom. Naruto, why were you pulling pranks again? Because this class is boring. It's utterly useless. Most of the facts are either vague or misinterpreted, and I know more than majority of the than the majority of history combined. Having 1,000-year-old fox sealed in your gut does its wonders, Naruto said, keeping the last part to himself. However, well, in that case, class, we're going to redo the transformation test today. Everyone just groaned at this. This is all your fault, Naruto Bakwa, screeched Yamanaka. Yeah, Naruto, why did you have to be so troublesome all the time? Shikamaru said. Naruto just hummed. Indignantly, I don't know what that word means, I'm sorry guys, and I can't read it, and turned his head the other way. Sakura Haruno, a pink-haired girl, put her hands in the rat hand seal, and after one cry of transformation jutsu, she's transformed into Iruka by a few inches shorter. Nice. A little too short, but practice makes perfect. Cha! Did you see that, Kiba-kun? What? Asked Sakura. Kiba just grinned at and raised a thumbs up, making her squeal and blush. It was awesome, Sakura-chan, yelled Naruto. Sakura scowled as she noticed the orange-clad boy. Shut up, Naruto, Sakura yelled as she punched Naruto in the head, making Naruto yelp in pain. Sorry, Sakura. Jeez, does she have to punch me every time? What a coward. I try to make her feel better about herself, and she abuses me. Next, Satsuki Uchiha. Hey yo, is that Tsuki? Satsuki just walked up. Naruto had to admit she was definitely attractive, but with a long black ponytail going down to her hip, and bangs covering her forehead, along with a cute heart-shaped face and a black top, leaving her shoulders uncovered. With matching black Anbu style pants, she was quite the beauty. About 90% of the boys in the class, including Naruto and Kiba, cheered us for Satsuki. Satsuki, without even saying a word, just a half rat seal, managed to transform into Iruka almost perfectly. Amazing, Satsuki. You really live up to your name as a prodigy. Just an inch shorter, and the kunai the kunai pouch is facing the wrong way. But extra points for doing it wordlessly and with a half seal. Iruka praised, which Satsuki just hummed and smirked. Of course, all the boys were cheering for her, with a few of the girls happy for her, but most glaring at her out of jealousy, due to Kiba cheering her on the loudest. Next to Naruto, it wasn't she cared about anyone. The class was way too easy for her. Next up, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto walked up to the class, receiving more than a few glares. A couple were sneering at him. Naruto, however, decided to play another prank and yelled sexy jutsu. Once the smoke dissipated, a few boys fainted and a few passed out from a nosebleed. A couple of girls were red in the face from either jealousy or anger. Standing in the smoke, was a beautiful naked figure with the curves all over her body. Wisps of smoke covering the intimate areas. Eureka shot back with a nosebleed and immediately smacked Naruto across the head. Naruto, what was that, you idiot? Naruto, for his part, just smirked triumphantly at Eureka. That Eureka was my very own sexy jutsu. It can be turned into an A-rank jutsu. All for Kunoichi, the reserve transformation jutsu. It's the same thing as the transformation. Oh, the reversed sexy jutsu. Sorry, it's the same thing as the sexy jutsu, except instead of the curvy girls, a hunky guy. It's a hunky guy. It reserves multiple purposes, including seduction missions, and all temporarily stunning the opponent in battle. Eureka, along with half the class, actually had a blink at the rather thoughtful explanation. Eureka would have been rather impressed impressed had the jutsu not basically been offensive to the female gender, or at least was what Eureka said in his head. Yeah, whatever. Class is dismissed today. Remember, kids, tomorrow is a graduation exam, Eureka said, specifically looking at Naruto. Most of the kids were chattering excitedly, and once the bell rang, everyone left. Tomorrow's the big day. Kurama, Naruto said to his partner, and basically father/older brother figure. Yep, that's right, Rat. I can't wait to see the reactions on those kids' faces, Kurama said. Kurama replied as he smirked. Unfortunately, for Naruto, he wasn't able to train using Kurama's chakra. He can't activate Kurama's chakra without alerting practically every sensor Jonin, Anbu, and the Hokage in the village. Kurama explained to Naruto how merging with the chakra would work, for Naruto becoming a pure Jinchuriki, the golden chakra mode in Shippuden basically. But he needed the key to the seal, so the cage would open. Kurama told Naruto that he believed one of the toads currently holds the key to the seal. So more than likely Jiraiya had the key. Hey Kurama, can you take me to my parents' house? I can turn invisible now, and I want to learn the Haraishin. I already learned the chakra theory. I'm a level 8 Fuinjutsu user, and I know the theory behind the jutsu. I think I can start the practical use of the jutsu now. Sure, brat. Turn invisible and I'll give you the directions. Alright. Mizagakure no jutsu. Okay. What is that? Naruto whispered quietly. Instantly, the chakra bent the light fractions around Naruto, so he turned invisible to the naked eye. Kurama started giving Naruto instructions on how to get to the house, as he expected of his parents. It was a small, humble house. Home. Home sounds better than house. Home is more like, nice and cozy. House is just like, oh yeah, that's my house, bruv. 2 stories, 4 bedrooms, and 3 bathrooms. He had to smear some blood on the doorknob due to there being a blood seal on the knob, which immediately let him in after a series of clicks. Naruto had to restrain some tears when he saw pictures of his parents. He started walking around the house. When he came in front of a certain room, he fell to his knees and started sobbing quietly. In front of him was a small room labeled Naruto-chan's room. It was painted orange with toys all around the room, and a cozy tiny crib. This could have been all his, but because of a certain masked idiot, he was forced to grow up in a cold, cemented orphanage floor. Kurama was oddly quiet inside the cage the entire time. After Naruto got a hold of himself, he started walking around again, the time searching This time searching for his father's weapons kit, Kurama stated in an oddly solemn voice. Yeah, I was right. Considering his usual teasing tone. Check the basement. There might be something there. It was the off-limits room that your mother never entered, so there might be something there. Naruto simply nodded and went down to the basement. After smearing some blood on the doorknob, the doorknob opened, and what he saw took his breath away. Inside the room were multiple kunai with the Haraishin formula on the handle, and three-pronged instead of the usual one. There were multiple swords, nodachis, katanas, and even zanbatos. I don't know what that is. What is that? Some bleach thing? Which he believed were his mother's. After all, his mother was the Red Death, and the one who single-handedly defeated the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. Naruto also noticed the scroll of Kenjutsu katas, which he would try later. He sealed one katana and had a Vanta black handle and a purple white handle with a blood red line going down. This blade also had an extremely thin aura around it. It was called the Seishin Ekisu, soul extractor, and it was said to have once belonged to the Shinigami himself. Naruto sealed this Sheinshu Ekisu, and around 110 of the tri-pronged kunais in the sealing scroll, deciding to keep the rest in here. Pocketing the scroll, and along with another whisper of Meisai Gakure no Jutsu, he bolted out of his father's home and went back to his apartment. Tomorrow would surely be an interesting day. That much he was sure of. The next morning, Naruto woke up. He immediately removes his transformation. He ate his breakfast, consisting of white rice, miso soup, and fresh vegetables. He got dressed and looked at himself in the mirror. Standing in front of him wasn't an orange blonde idiot with a shit-eating grin. No. Standing in front of him was a 5'5" teenager with a lean body, not overly muscular, but not scrawny, a nice build. He had the spiky, shaggy blonde hair with no bandages. With 2 bandages on either side of his head. And purple liner underneath his eyes. Oh, what? Purple eyeliner? What's going on here? He wore black robes and a high collar and with white outlines. With high collars. With a high collar and white outlines. Come on, man. I can't read properly. He had 5 magatamas stitched around the collar and at the top of his chest showing along with a single earring in the shape of a tomoe, along with piercing blue eyes, a calm but stern expression on his face. Instead of he looked like a powerful shinobi. Oh, sorry. I missed a line. On his face, instead of a scrawny adolescent aura, his body radiated a powerful but serene aura. His outfit matched his black boots, not a shred of face fat, and the sharp jawline. Picture Indra Otsutsuki, but with blue eyes and blonde hair, and the black and white reversed on his outfit. That's actually kind of sick. All in all, he looked like a powerful shinobi. Kurama whistled inside his head, looking good for a human, Naruto, instead of his sheepish head rub or a nervous chuckle/blush. He just nodded, keeping his stoic expression and the cold glint in his eyes. Naruto Uzumaki was dead, and Naruto Namikaze was born on this day. Still, having an hour left, he body flickered in front of the academy with a book called Advanced Space-Time Theories and Level 10 Fuinjutsu in his hand. He walked into the classroom and immediately sat at the very back of the classroom, burying his head in his book. Hiruzen Sarutobi caught himself mesmerized by Naruto's new outfit. Looks like the future girlfriend, or your future girlfriend will have, will have to chase the fangirls off with a stick. Naruto-kun. He was in thought with a chuckle. One by one, the students started piling in Naruto while reading his book. Also kept his eyes on everyone walking in. Most of the kids were irrelevant, nameless civilians, but a couple were clan heirs. He noticed a few people giving him strange expressions, all raised an eyebrow, but eventually shrugging it off, figuring the academy instructor would probably explain it. But most of people just didn't notice him. Finally, his ears twitched as he heard a familiar screeching along with stomping. Eventually, two girls, one pinky and the other platinum blondie, entered the room. Ha! I came in first, Eno Pig. Beat her forehead. My big toe was in front of yours, and yeah, he was suppressed. Yeah, wait, he had to suppress a sweat drop at this. I'm sitting next to Kiba-kun. No, I am forehead. Eventually, Naruto had enough. He put his book down and cleared his throat. When he noticed he practically the entire class's when he noticed he had practically the entire class's attention, he just offered, "Why don't you both take Kiba's side?" The two girls just stared at him strangely, with a tiny blush on Sakura's. Sakura had a shocked expression. Naruto Baka. This shocked the entire class. Before, Naruto just tilted his head to the side and narrowed his eyes with the entire class at once, before stuffing his face back into the book once again. Sakura just noticed this. Ha! There's no way that hottie was Naruto Baka. He can't go 5 seconds without asking me out on a date. And what is he reading? Advanced space-time theories? Naruto could barely spell chakra right last week. The class laughed at this, but before Naruto, without even lifting his head, he just muttered in the coldest tone possible, and said in an eerily calm tone, "Appearances can be quite deceiving, Haruno." Everyone flinched at his tone. Even Satsuki had to suppress her shivers after gauging everyone's reactions. Naruto mentally thanked Kurama for the lessons of intimidation. Before anyone could get a word in, Iruka walked into the room with Mizuki beside him. "Alright, class, settle down." And everyone fell back into their seats. "Today we will begin the graduation test. So after attendance, everyone come outside and we will begin with weapon throwing." Iruka went through the names of multiple kids, finally landing on Naruto Uzumaki. He looked up. "Here." He lazily lifted his hand. "Naruto Baka, stop acting cool like Kiba-kun." A certain pink-haired girl shouted, Such pretty words mean nothing to me." Oh, sorry, such petty. I can't read. I'm telling you guys, I am illiterate. No, actually, wait, that sounds rude to the people who actually are. Naruto replied without even looking away from his book. Once again, shocking the entire class, Iruka and Mizuki included. After Iruka snapped from his stupor, he walked out, and the others followed him. Everyone followed Iruka and Mizuki outside. One by one, the kids threw kunais and shurikens at the target. A few hit until Satsuki was called, where she flipped them, and they all hit 10 bullseyes. And she hit 10 bullseyes except for one. She smirked when everyone cheered, seemingly in Naruto's direction, but grit her teeth when she saw he wasn't even paying attention. Wait, why does she care about his opinion? The opinion of the dead last. Whatever. She shook her head. She shook herself from her thoughts and walked back to the class. "You were awesome, Satsuki," Kiba yelled, and a lot of the fanboys nodded vigorously. But she noticed that Naruto didn't even look up from his book, which made her kind of angry. Finally, Iruka called on Naruto, and Satsuki had a smug smirk on her face, wanting to see Naruto fail after ignoring her. Her fantasy didn't last long, however. When Naruto put his book down and flicked 10 shurikens lazily and landed them all, everyone's jewels dropped at this except Hiruzen, who had spied. I can't read. I'm telling you, who had spied on Naruto practicing in the Forest of Death before. Besides, he'd seen better than that before. Orochimaru, Nandaime-sama, and Itachi Uchiha were all much better at Naruto's age than he was. Not that he was belittling Naruto or anything, just how strong are you, Naruto, Iruka thought. Well, that was unexpected. Good job, Naruto. After that, they took turns sparring. Mizuki and Naruto, Mizuki, and Naruto had Mizuki pinned under 3 seconds. Afterwards, they all performed 3 jutsus, Naruto producing solid clones, but no one needed to know that. Naruto walked home that day with a blank headband. Satsuki, Itachi, and Mikoto were eating a quiet dinner when Itachi noticed Satsuki was barely eating her tomatoes. Is something troubling you? Emoto-chan. What does that mean? Yo, someone help me out, bro. Itachi asked Satsuki. She looked up and at him and absently noticed her mother was listening on the conversation. Nothing really. It's just something strange happened today during the graduation exams. Oh, and what happened? You know that loudmouth dead last kid in my class, Naruto, the one who screams about becoming Hokage and all his false pranks. Mikoto narrowed her eyes. She had suspicions that Naruto was the son of Kushina and Minato, despite Hiruzen telling her Kushina died with her unborn son in the night of the Kyuubi attack. Before Itachi nodded, telling her to go on. Well, today at the beginning of class, Naruto arrived early, unlike basically every other day. Yeah, and he actually looked kind of handsome, she said, blushing a bit at the end. Before giving a chance for either of them to tease her, she continued. But the strange thing was, he was wearing a black cloak instead of his ugly orange jumpsuit, and he didn't ask me or Sakura on a date today once. The weirdest part was, he was reading a book called Advanced Space-Time Theories and Level 10 Fuinjutsu. I mean, I don't think even half the Jonins know what Fuinjutsu. And then the class dobe props in with it. At this, Mikoto and Itachi's eyes widened in shock. Not knowing anyone so young could know about sealing arts, a level 10 no less. It also confirmed Mikoto that Naruto was indeed Kushina's son, and Naruto breezed through all parts of all three parts of the exams like it was nothing. He even beat my score. At this point, both Satsuki's relatives knew he was putting up a facade. No way someone who could have learned that much in a single week. My, if I didn't know better, I'd think you have a crush on him, Satsuki-chan, Mikoto teased, and laughed gently when Satsuki turned beet red. Mother, I'd like to invite him to lunch tomorrow and ask him a couple of questions tomorrow. Mikoto raised an eyebrow, and Satsuki looked shocked. All right, Itachi, you can give him tomorrow. You can invite him for lunch tomorrow. Itachi nodded at this, and Satsuki went back to eating her tomatoes. Chapter 3. This is the final chapter I'll read for part 1, because I just realized there's only 2 more parts to it, and the last time this author updated was on May 2022, sorry. Yeah, it's gonna be quite short, but anyway, this week has been a crazy one. One Naruto Namikaze, publicly known as Naruto Uzumaki, mused. Quite a few things happened, including a few rather unexpected ones. He was thinking over the events of this week as he did this morning, his morning rituals. Flashback. 6 days ago, Naruto was practicing his taijutsu katas. He sensed Satsuki and Itachi spying on him earlier. He decided to humor them for a bit, so he acted as if he didn't notice anything. He noticed one thing: Satsuki was masking up around 65% of her chakra signature, which was unusual for a genin, but Itachi was only masking 80% of his signature. He knew, as an Anbu, Itachi was supposed to be able to mask at least 85% of his chakra, so more than likely Itachi was testing him to see if he would realize or not. Naruto finally had enough of it, so he flicked his wrist and immediately snickered at as he heard a scream come from the tree as he threw two shuriken one in front of Satsuki and the other one in front of Itachi. Itachi noticed it coming way before he hit. He jumped out of the way and landed gracefully on his feet. Meanwhile, Satsuki was wasn't so lucky, sorry, and she fell to the ground with a thud. Both Itachi and Naruto chuckled at her, and as Itachi already knew Naruto had spotted them, if the occasional glances towards him and his sisters meant anything, she glared at Naruto. He was whistling innocently and marched up to him with a huff and crossed her arms. "What the hell was that for, Dobe?" Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I didn't notice there were two people spying on me. I was just practicing my shuriken throwing." Satsuki blushed when he said that and looked away. "Whatever. It was my older brother's idea anyway," she mumbled. Naruto turned to Itachi, who was watching all this with an amused expression. He looked at him, saying, "Well," Itachi, catching his attention, and continued, "Hello, Naruto-kun. I was merely watching you train, but I had no idea that my Imoto-chan was following me." He looked at him as if saying, "Oh, sorry." Satsuki blushed even harder at this. Chuckling, Itachi continued, "I was wondering if you wanted to come over and eat dinner with us this lovely afternoon." Itachi half asked, half stated to Naruto. Naruto raised an eyebrow. "May I ask why?" He questioned. Itachi shrugged. "Well, it would be interesting having someone who can pull off such high level pranks and can maintain a facade for 4 years eat with us," Itachi elaborated. Naruto smirked at that. Even Satsuki was quite impressed. Acting like an idiot for such a long time when you really are not can damage your dignity, and it would really be annoying. She probably wouldn't be able to do such a thing. After all, who could? Somewhere deep in hidden in a cave in Amagakure, a man wearing an orange mask was with black swirls sneezed. Naruto thought over this. Obviously, Itachi had some ulterior motive for this. Maybe Mikoto knew his heritage and asked Itachi to ask for her. Well, he really had nothing to lose. Besides, when you only have a grumpy old furball to talk to, it gets really lonely. Naruto mused, ignoring the indignant "Oi!" "Sure, Itachi-san. I don't see a problem with this." "Well, I'll see you two in a couple of hours, I guess," Naruto said with a wave. Without waiting for either of them to reply, he vanished in a leaf sunshin. Or Shunshin. Oh, I know what that means. Body flicker, I think, unless I'm wrong. Satsuki blinked at this. "Nissan, will you teach me that? Will you teach me how to do that?" Satsuki whined. Itachi inwardly cursed at Naruto for his new Satsuki. For this, he knew Satsuki would pester him about this. Oh. And decided to be flashy anyways. Itachi sighed. He poked her forehead with 2 fingers. "Itachi, later, Imoto-chan. Now, let's go back home before mother scolds us," he replied, and began tree-hopping back. Satsuki puffed her cheeks and shook her head and followed her brother. Naruto arrived at the Uchiha district with his regular cloak, his dirty blonde hair still messy, with purple eyeliner underneath. His eyes still have the same bored expression engraved on his face. He knocked at the Uchiha clan's head's door, and not a minute later, Mikoto answered the door. When she noticed Naruto, she had to fight the mild blush on her face. It's not like you could blame her, could you? It's been 6 or 7 years since her husband died. Wait, what? Walk on here, and with no Kushina to call her cradle robber, there was nothing to stop her. He thought evilly. She was broken out of her musings when she noticed Naruto talking Uchiha-san. he asked. Mikoto shook herself out of her thoughts. It's fine, Naruto. Call me Mikoto, please, she replied with a motherly smile and motioned him to come in. You have a nice home, Mikoto-san. Naruto complimented. Thank you, Naruto. We were just about to eat. Why don't you sit down? Mikoto offered him. Thank you, Mikoto. Naruto replied with a gentle smile on his face, which most girls would swoon over him. Which would make most girls swoon over him. As he walked in, he noticed Itachi and Satsuki both at the table, sitting already. Satsuki looked at him and nodded, to which he nodded back. And after exchanging greetings with Itachi, he sat down. After Mikoto put the food on the table, and a chorus of itadakimasu, they dug in. Your food tastes amazing, Mikoto-san, but I have to say, it's a lot better eating with others, he said with a soft smile. They frowned at this, realizing how lonely it must be to have lived alone since the age of 6. Don't worry, Naruto. You can come here and eat anytime you'd like, Mikoto told him. Itachi started to small talk. So, Naruto, I hear you graduated as the Rookie of the Year. Naruto shrugged. As he said earlier, I put on a facade for the past 4 years. I should graduate as the Rookie of the Year. I should graduate as the Rookie of the Year, but I wouldn't be surprised if the instructors sabotaged me, Naruto replied. Satsuki raised an eyebrow. Why would the instructors sabotage Naruto? She knew his pranks were annoying, but surely sabotaging him would be taking it too far. Both Mikoto and Itachi frowned. They, unlike Satsuki, knew why Naruto was treated this way, and shook their head at the stupidity of most of the citizens. Oh, that's right, Satsuki doesn't know, does she? Naruto questioned. Know what? Satsuki asked suspiciously. Before either Mikoto and Itachi could intervene, Naruto replied, the Kyuubi is one of the 9 Bijus. The one with the one-tailed raccoon, two-tailed cat, three-tailed turtle, four-tailed monkey, the 5... What are these things? Come on, bro. These are all, like, flipping divine beasts, bruv. Come on, bro. You can't be calling them a turtle and a monkey or a flipping what? A cat. What one? Okay, they are cats, monkeys, and thing, but relax. The 5-tailed horse, the 6-tailed slug. Okay, that crazy. Come on, man. That's the 6 tails, man. You can't call him just a slug. The 7-tailed beetle and the 8-tailed ox. I thought it was an octopus. And the 9-tailed fox. Itachi was slightly impressed with Naruto's knowledge of the Bijus. He deduced that if Naruto knew this, he must have a relationship with the fox. What most people don't know is that a Biju is a creature made of chakra with a soul in it. Technically, a tailed beast cannot be killed. Instead, the Yondaime sealed the Biju inside of me, and people believe that I am the reincarnation of the Kyuubi, Naruto said with a scoff at the end. Satsuki was shocked and angry at this. So she now knew why people would glare at him hatefully, but did they really not trust the Sandaime's words or the Yondaime's Funjutsu skill? Naruto continued. Without waiting for a response, the Yondaime would have sealed it in himself, but it had to be sealed inside of someone young. But the chakra coils would fry in an instant and develop. If an early undeveloped system were to merge with the demonic chakra, and the Yondaime was too noble of a man, so he wouldn't have sealed the Kyuubi in a random orphan. After all, who better to trust in such a burden than your own son? He stated carelessly. When Satsuki would hate him, whether Satsuki would hate him or kiss up to him, or react indifferently wasn't his problem. All three widened their eyes. When he said this, Itachi already knew this, Mikoto suspected it, and Satsuki had no idea. However, my Jinchuriki status as an S-rank secret, and as my heritage, not even the Hokage knows. I know this. All evidence tracing back to my father, Minato Namikaze, and my mother Kushina Uzumaki, the Red Death, has been erased or redacted, except for one file, locked in a top secret vault in the Hokage's office. which he'll use to prove my heritage when the time comes. And how you know this? Not how do you know this? Naruto, Mikoto asked. With a raised eyebrow, Naruto shrugged. It's not hard to notice. I read Kushino Uzumaki's file. It said that she was in a relationship with the fourth. I was born the same day she died. She was the previous host of the Nine Tails. I have the same blonde hair and blue eyes as the fourth. Isn't it logical? Isn't it a logical conclusion that they were my parents? Naruto asked with a deadpan. Itachi's sweat dropped. Mikoto sheepishly nodded, and Satsuki is still too shocked to say anything. Perceptive of you, Naruto-kun, Itachi commented. Naruto merely shrugged. It wasn't harder to notice if you weren't biased against him, which most of the villagers were. Well, I'm going to go now. Thank you for the invitation, Itachi, and thank you for the meal, Mikoto-san. Well, I'll see you next week, Satsuki, Naruto said, and left the house with a body flicker. Flashback end. Another flashback. 2 days earlier, Naruto was sitting on the top of the Yondaime's head on the Hokage monument with his legs dangling over the edge, watching over the village, when suddenly he sensed a presence behind him. He knew to throw a kunai behind him. In speeds that would make most Chunin envious, and when he looked behind him, he saw the old man, with black spiky hair and an X-shaped scar on his chin, and a bandaged left eye and arm, and a cane. Naruto narrowed his eyes. The man seemed familiar, but he couldn't put his finger on where he'd seen the man before. The man suddenly disappeared, and Naruto's danger senses screamed at him to move. At the last second, he narrowly dodged a whack from the man's cane, and the man dodged another vicious kick to the stomach. Damn, this old man is good. He must be a veteran shinobi, Naruto mused, as he exchanged blows and dodges with the mysterious man. Just as Naruto thought he was about to gain an edge over the man, he threw his cane in the air, and in high Jonin level bordering Kage level speeds, he hit Naruto in the chin with a roundhouse kick, and body flickered behind Naruto, then pinned him to the ground, arms behind his back, and his right leg on Naruto's back. Very good for your age and rank, Rookie Genin. I'd give you a low Chunin rank, mid Chunin tops, the man stated calmly. Who are you? I can tell you're a veteran shinobi, and judging by your lack of Ekonoha Hataite, I can rightfully deem you a threat, Naruto stated with a cold tone. He was sweating on the inside. However, who is this guy? He's so strong, but he has to at least be the age of the Sandaime. Wait, he must be Danzo Shimura, the Warhawk, a student of the Nidaime Hokage, and Gigi's old rival. That's why he's so strong. Danzo chuckled mirthlessly. Danjo chuckled a mirthless chuckle at this boy. Boy, you may be good for your age, but your years are years too younger to even hold a candle to me, which is what I wanted to talk about, he stated. Naruto narrowed his eyes. He knew of Danzo's root Anbu and militaristic ideals. My name is Danzo Shimura, and I protect Konoha from the dark. I am the Nidaime student and an old teammate of Hiruzen Sarutobi. I can train you if you'd like. With my help, I can make you a force to be reckoned with. I can already tell you have potential so high that you can surpass the likes of Madara Uchiha, Nidaime Hokage, and your father. Danzo noticed Naruto's eyes widen as he as he smirked a little. Naruto knew if Danzo knew of Naruto's heritage, he obviously knew of Naruto's Jinchuriki status. He deduced Danzo wanted to mold Naruto into an emotionless tool under his command, and would obviously decline. But he decided to humor the man. I'll think about this, Naruto said calmly. Danzo turned around with a rare grin on his face, thinking he's won. Soon, Konoha will be under my rule. Just wait, Hiruzen. Or just you wait, Hiruzen. I'll take good care of the tree that is Konohagakure. Flashback end. Naruto was getting changed into his clothes right now, getting ready to head to the academy for his team assignments. After getting changed, brushing his teeth and a bowl of rice, he body flickered to the academy. Yawn. Morning, brat. Today is the day you get to get your sensei correct. Kurama questioned Naruto as he stretched inside Naruto's cage. Morning, Kurama. Yeah, today is the day I get assigned to a Jonin cell. I wonder who will be in my team. Soon enough, Naruto arrived in front of the door. He sensed multiple chakra signatures inside the classroom, so he thought he'd entertain his class a bit. He opened the door, grabbed the ledger on the door top, using a chakra manipulated, swung it onto the ceiling class, walked over the desk as he sat down, gaining stunned and awed looks from the students. Even Iruka had an impressed look on his face. Back in the Hokage's office, the Jonin senseis and the Hokage were gathered and peering into the Hokage crystal ball. Needless to say, Hiruzen was sporting a huge grin on his face, and the Jonins were stunned, while Kakashi had an eyebrow raised, using chakra manipulation to stick onto surfaces, asked Sarutobi. The son of Hiruzen, Sarutobi questioned. But that's a Chunin level technique, replied Genma Shiranui. One of the few shinobis who had nothing personal against Naruto. But isn't Naruto the boy, the dead last of his class? Asked a baffled Kurenai Yuhi, the girlfriend of Asuma Sarutobi and a recently promoted Jonin of Konoha. Also, the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha, only bettered by the art of Genjutsu by Itachi Uchiha. Well, appearances can be quite deceiving, huh? Said Kakashi Hatake, the copycat ninja, prized student of the fourth, with his trademark eye. But inwardly, he was just as confused. I had no idea Minato Sensei's son was this good. Chunin level chakra control at the age of 13 and putting up a facade. Sensei, your son is just as much of a prodigy as you are. Back in the academy, Naruto was sitting in his desk waiting for assignments and noticed everyone staring at him. What? He snapped, shocking everyone out of the stupor. Stupor. I don't know what that means, I can't lie. When did Naruto Baka get this cool? Thought a certain pig-headed girl with a red dress on and a red hataite. Cha, that idiot. Is probably just acting cool to make Kiba-kun look bad and make me fall for him. Well, it ain't going to work. Naruto Baka yelled her inner consciousness. Naruto Baka, stop acting so cool. Stop acting cool. Screeched Sakura. Naruto just glared at her, making her shrink back down. Keep your comments to yourself, Haruno, Naruto said in a cold tone, making her flinch and unknowingly making a certain mask-wearing grey-haired Jonin frown. Iruka faked a cough and to get the attention of their class. Well, now that Naruto is here, I'll start the teams. Team 1, Shigeru Uzuki, Nami Ito, Oboro Suzuki. Your sensei is Genma Shiranui. Iruka droned on. Naruto stopped paying attention and began playing with his kunai absently. Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto perked up and when he heard his name. Sakura Haruno. Sakura groaned as she heard this. Naruto just sighed and crossed his arms. It could have been absolutely anyone, and I just had to get this creature. It was only his training of keeping his emotions in check, and Kurama consoling him, saying something about killing her on a mission and pretending it was a bandit, making him inwardly sweat drop. Just stopped him from cursing the gods out loud. And Satsuki Uchiha, the Jonin sensei, your Jonin sensei will be Kakashi Hatake. Naruto sighed again, a screecher with no skill and a stubborn girl who had a superior complex. Did the gods hate him or something? 2 hours have passed, and they're the only ones left. "Where is our sensei?" Sakura Haruno screeched for the 100th time. Even Sasuke was starting to get a little impatient. Naruto just sat down, his head on his palm, staring lazily at the door. Satsuki was sitting in her chair, seeming calm, but you could tell by her knuckles tightening that she was and her legs shaking in that she was getting quite irritated. A minute later, the door opens with a man with silver spiky hair and a face mask and a hatite covering his left eye walks into the room. Not a second after he walks, a kunai whistled past the low jonin at low jonin speeds. Only with his years of experience as a jonin and an ex-army captain was he able to dodge it. He narrowed his eyes and guessed who did it, but didn't need to, as he noticed Naruto with an indifferent expression on his face, but a closer look and you could see a tiny smirk on his face. Sakura and Satsuki both had their eyes wide as dinner plates. Jaws dropped. Naruto back. "Why would you do that?" Sakura yelled at him, preparing to bonk him on the head, but a little killing intent from Naruto made her freeze in her tracks. "Calm down, Haruno. I only threw the kunai at shooting speeds. A jonin should have been easily able to dodge it. If he dodged it, good for him. If he didn't, well, shinobi standards have dropped," Naruto said, his smirk growing into a small grin at the end of his speech. Kakashi was shocked, but soon snapped out of his stupor. "Well, first impressions, you're alright. Meet me up on the roof in 5 minutes," Kakashi ordered as Satsuki and Naruto body flickered to the roof in no less than 2 seconds, arriving in a split second after Kakashi, and Satsuki took a little longer due to her being new to the technique. It seems like Itachi really did teach her the technique, Naruto thought with a small chuckle, while Sakura had to run to the rooftop. Kakashi raised his eyebrow. Not one, but two of his students knew the body flicker. It seemed God gifted him with 2 prodigies in his squad. But just because of this didn't mean that he would neglect the 3rd student. He was shortly broken out of his musings when a huffling and sweating Sakura entered the vicinity. She wondered. She widened her eyes for the moment she saw Naruto leaning on the rail and hands in his pocket and eyes closed, and Satsuki opposite to him lying on the ground with a bored expression on her face. How in God's name did Naruto, Baka, and Satsuki both get here before me? Kakashi clamped his hands. "Well, now that my students are here, why don't you introduce yourselves?" He asked. How do we do that, Sensei?" asked Sakura. "Well, likes, dislikes, hobbies, goals for the future. I'll start with my name. My name is Kakashi Hatake. My likes and dislikes are none of your business. Hobbies and training and goals for the future I don't have." All 3 faulted at this. Even Kurama sweat dropped. All we learnt was his name. Was the common thought. "Pinky, you next." She glared at him. She glared at the nickname, but went anyways. "My name is Sakura Haruno. I like Kibokun." She said with a squeal. "I hate Naruto Baka." She glanced at Naruto to see his reaction and huffed when she noticed his eyes closed, a bored look on his face, and arms crossed. "My hobbies are doing my hair and dreams for my future." Her face turned completely red at this. "Alright, you next, sunshine." He pointed at Satsuki. "Satsuki Uchiha, I like tomatoes, dislike a lot of things, and my dreams is to surpass my brother one day." Kakashi nodded and pointed at Naruto. "Last and maybe least blondie." Naruto cracked open his eyes. "You know me. I like my dislikes and dislike my likes." Oh goddamn, okay. Sakura just regarded this as Naruto spouting nonsense. Satsuki was confused at this, but Kakashi was very, very impressed. He knew it meant Naruto had guilty pleasures and admitted it, but at the same time disliked the fact that he had such things. He lacked such things. "Looks like I struck gold with this one," Kakashi mused. "My hobbies are reading, since I have eidetic memory. Oh, okay, I don't know what that means. Eidetic, if anyone wants to search it up. Eidetic memory and my dream. I wish to unite the world. All three widened their eyes at this. Kakashi half expected Naruto to say something silly, like scream about becoming Hokage, or learn a bunch of cool jutsus, and Satsuki and Sakura were just downright surprised. Yes, I feel there's too much conflict in the world, even though we don't live in a time of war or during the warring clans era. It's still quite irritating, don't you think? Getting a knock on your door, opening it to find an aunt or a tuning at the door, only to find out that your dad or wife or your son died on a mission or in a battle. The life of shinobi is a curse. We are nothing more than a simple mercenaries who get sent on missions and paid to perform said mission. There are no heroes in the shinobi world. Only fools believe such things. Where there is light, there is darkness. Take the Yondaime Hokage, for example. After he single-handedly annihilated the 1000 Iwonin and ended the war, we Konoha thought of him as a hero, right? But what about from Evil's point of view? Imagine yourself as a housewife doing your dishes, and one day or as a child playing with your toys, and you get a knock at the door. You open it to find a Jonin. You recognize him as one of your husband's or / dad's friends, and he tells you that said man died in battle, along with 900 plus other shinobi. How would you feel about such a thing? I wish to stop such thing from happening. That's why my first task towards world peace is to become Hokage, he said, with conviction in his voice and eyes. Kakashi's jaw was on the floor, lone eye size of a dinner plate. God, such philosophies at such young age. He already knows what it means to be a shinobi. What have you gone through, Naruto? Thought Kakashi. Naruto. Thought Satsuki, with a concern. Sakura was nearly in tears by the end of his speech, and was questioning her decisions to become a shinobi in the first place. She became a shinobi to get closer to her Kibakun, and because she thought ninjas were cool, spatting jutsus left, right, and center, and kicking ass like saving princesses. Never once did she think an ounce as deep as Naruto did. Kakashi clapped his hands. That was one hell of a speech, huh? Well, you three aren't Genins just yet, Kakashi said ominously. Out of you 27 hopefuls, only 9 of you will become Genin. Kakashi continued, meet me here at 5 a.m. sharp tomorrow morning. And by the way, don't eat breakfast unless you want to throw up. Well, see you later, Kakashi said as he left with a swirl of leaves. Well, I don't know about you two, it would be stupid not to eat breakfast. He probably is testing us to see you, Naruto said as he also left in a body flicker, Satsuki vanishing a moment later, leaving Sakura to her thoughts. Well, that is where I'm going to end off today's What If. I hope you enjoyed it. It was only an hour and 17 minutes, but the next part will be even shorter. And I don't know if this amazing author will continue this story. Maybe you already did. I'll check it out. I'll try finding out if there's a sequel or not. And anyways, my ducklings, you're dismissed. This was the King of Weebs. 100 likes and I'll upload part 2 straight away after this video is uploaded. Anyways, peace.